Welcome back to In Her Era. I am Monique Took, functional health practitioner and entrepreneur, and I am so excited to bring you today's guest. When I initially dreamed up this podcast, which only happened a few months ago, I really wanted it to be not about health and wellness because it is only one facet of what makes us a woman. It is only one facet of becoming that best version of ourselves. And I wanted to bring on real conversations with industry leaders and successful women who have been through shit but have come out the other side and have become that best version of themselves. And I want to really open up the conversation today with someone who is leading the industry in feminine sales, but also in a very male-dominated industry. And I am so excited to bring her today. Riley May Dixon is a business mentor, sales strategist, helping women lead through feminine-led sales and scale to multi-six figures with ease, and was my personal mentor this year. With over 6 years in the industry and literally millions made in organic sales, Riley blends sales psychology, intuitive marketing, and sustainable business strategy to help women sell with confidence without sacrificing alignment and well-being. In my opinion, she is the definition of integrity and showing up online authentically, and she honestly cares about any woman that enters in her world, which I think is really hard to find in a business coach, but in online in general. She is known for her signature Women That Sells Academy and is on a mission to redefine what success looks like for women and how they get there. Riley May Dixon, welcome to In Her Era. I am so excited to have you on the podcast today. When I first kind of had the idea that I was going to do a podcast, you were the very first person I told. I think it kind of came to me on a plane randomly, and you were like, yeah, you need to do it 100%. When are we launching? I told you before I told my partner, and I wasn't even 100% sure. I was convinced, but here we are. There is no better person I would rather have on my podcast than you.
Well, thank you for having me. I feel like this is a really cool beginning of In Her Era as well, and I'm so grateful that you had me on as your first guest and first episode.
First episode I love.
So good.
You and I always, we kind of when we have a conversation, we would probably talk for 3 hours and we would tangent everywhere from business to sex to money to subconscious reprogramming. So I will try and stay as much on track so that you guys can listen and you will kind of come away with some tangible, actionable steps and be inspired to just become that best version of yourself, because that is why we're here in the first place. So I want to start by going a little bit deeper. I'm not a surface level girl, and
I do know that about you.
I want to kind of talk about what no one else is talking about. That is more the invisible side of success. It's behind the brands, behind the aesthetic Instagram feed, which, yours is extremely aesthetic, and I love that. But behind all that, behind the Stripe payment screenshots that we all see and are a little bit over, you have been very open around the fact that, around about a year ago, you were quite struggling, a bit rock bottom in terms of not only just health, but emotionally, physically, mentally, but on the outside, it looked really good. From Instagram, no one would even know. You were living in Bali at the time. You were literally thriving, meeting all these amazing people. You were having high cash months, doing all these things. So from the outside, it looked, it gives that facade, I would say. And I would love to unpack. Let's go behind the scenes of that era Riley and just dive into that about, tell us then and there and how you kind of got out of that phase and how you are, who it became and who you are today in terms of your business and you.
I love this question. I want to start with even how I got there.
Yeah.
Because I think my entire life I've always been the very typical entrepreneurial, high-achieving, I can have whatever I want type of mindset, stubborn by nature. And in terms of physical health and even mental, emotional, I always coasted. I never really had huge fluctuations in my health. I never really had huge fluctuations in my mental health or my emotional state. And this was a time in my life where my relationship had broken down. I had moved overseas. Everything in my life crumbled internally. External, I was still very much married to performing success. That's the only way I can frame it. I was married to performing success. And I will be the first one to admit that I would still say I'm in the messy middle of really integrating and acknowledging and expanding my capacity to not be perfect, to not perform success, to admit that sometimes things are messy and you are in the middle, and it's actually safe to not need to maintain the facade of being perfect.
Yeah.
And there's actually more growth and more lesson from sharing that messy middle and being more vulnerable in that. And it's always been my work. So at that time, like you said, I'm living in Bali. I'm living the life from an external lens, married to the concept of keep it together, keep pushing, keep performing. You have to maintain, you have to preserve, when in reality, like you said, my physical health was the worst it had ever been. I had gone from losing a lot of weight when I had split with my partner to gaining a lot of weight when I was in Bali. I had parasites. I was sick. I was so dysregulated from a nervous system perspective. I was hardly sleeping. You know, if I think about my sleep hygiene, my routines, my standards, everything went out the door completely. And I had never felt so physically shit in my entire life. Yeah. And it was such a contrast on anything that I'd ever experienced, because for me growing up, health was a non-negotiable. It was a standard. I'd always put a lot of emphasis on that. I'd always prioritized it. I was someone who, you know, didn't get vaccines, and I didn't like birth control. And I just always went against the norms in that way quietly in my own life from just what I value. And it was just a very strange time of feeling this sort of contrast that I'd never experienced, and so uncomfortable in my physical state. Not just from an aesthetics lens, but just in how I actually felt. And it was a really beautiful thing, because we've had conversations around this, but I've always spoken about how, you know, your health matters when it comes to success, and your physical state is always going to reflect on what you experience in your business and wealth and money and clients and impact and, you know, all the things we speak about. And for the first time ever, I was like, yeah, it matters, because right now I'm experiencing the opposite of what, you know, is my norm typically, and I'm struggling. I can't serve the way I want to. I can't show up the way I want to. I feel so depleted in every sense of the word, and I just wanted to hide. And I think that was a really big thing as well, that a lot of people don't speak about when you're not optimized when it comes to health, I think is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Like I just couldn't perform, and that crumble and that kind of crack in the facade that I was so addicted to maintaining created a whole new level of internal conflict.
Yeah. Yeah. So in that phase, like I'm so big, I'm the same. Like when I had my own health struggles, you kind of don't realize the complete ceiling. It's like your glass ceiling. You cannot be that best version of yourself because you, A, don't have the energy to even do all the things you want to do. You don't have you've got all this brain fog. You can't creatively think. You can't execute as much as you want. You're basically capped in terms of success. But in terms of for you, it's like almost like a whole identity shift, which occurred as well. So how did you then, going from there, not only obviously you would have had help rebuilding your health, but from an identity lens, and then how did that transition into your business?
Well, I would say that I'm still very much in the midst of, you know, quote unquote recovering from this season, because it disrupted a huge pattern of mine. Right. And I think in business, you know, we say it all the time. It's sort of like personal development on crack. There will be no greater mirror than a business in terms of reflecting back to you the different things that you don't allow yourself to do, be, express, have, achieve, whatever it may be. But then equally the things that you're really married to being, or who you think you have to be in order to attain a certain level of success, clients, money, wealth, whatever the thing may be. And for me, like I said, my entire life, it's you have to be perfect. And I had no tolerance Zero tolerance for me being anything other than what I deem to be perfect. So when life crumbled around me, the relationship crumbled, I struggled to show up for clients in the way I typically had. I struggled to show up for myself in the way I typically had. Health reflected that. Life reflected that. Money reflected that. In whatever, kind of way, shape or form, that's a huge hit to your ego.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really, really hard to navigate behind the scenes and, again, from an internal lens. So I would say that it doesn't take much to lose it, and it takes a really long time to regain it.
Yeah.
And now a lot of the work lies in admitting that that is my truth. Mm-hmm. And it's more so leading with truth. So even for us, working together in a private capacity, about me that I always said to you, like, nothing is off limits. I will tell you everything, even if that challenges my concept of self, even if it challenges what I'm trying to preserve, because I know now that in me sharing my truth, I slowly expand capacity in terms of creating safety in me not being perfect, in me being something other than, and actually sharing the moments where it wasn't successful, the moments where I was struggling, the moments where it wasn't linear, the moments where I truthfully could have given it all up and really not cared.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of the work.
Absolutely. I think it's so interesting as well because you can visually see a shift. Like if you should do this, scroll back to Riley's Instagram and before it is very perfectly curated, you're right, it's like perfectionism. You're not being probably as opinionated as you are now. Now you are a lot more disruptive, I would say. You're a lot more opinionated. You're less of that perfectionism self. So you can see the evolution. My interesting thing for you is, like, for me, I am same as you were, perfectionism, good girl, type A. I'm always like, I was the one that everyone likes. It's just like, just be nice, just play small because then you'll fit into the box and no one will have anything against you. And I think a lot of women struggle with showing up online as, authentically and just like as you have transitioned into sharing your opinion a lot more loudly, sharing a little bit more edginess to themselves because of the rebuke, because of the fear of what will people think, fear of being judged. How do you feel like you overcame that? Obviously, it's been this whole evolution, but was there a moment that you're like, fuck it, like I'm letting down this filter? Or was it just this full evolution over time?
I think there's always a moment that every single person hits where they get so fed up with themselves that it just prompts change. You wake up one day and you think, I'm so sick of feeling this way. I'm so sick of looking this way. I'm so sick of not sharing this way. I'm so sick of being this way in whatever context that can be sort of the I'm done moment of I can't continue leading this way or doing this thing or feeling whatever way. And that's come in many different forms for me, even with my physical health last year. I remember waking up and looking in the mirror and thinking, my body right now takes up so much mental capacity in my day. It's all I think about. It's all I'm fixated on. It is a constant open loop in my head. I am so fucking done with this. And even though people around me were saying, you still look good, you're still amazing, you're still beautiful, but you train so hard, but you do all these things. I said, no, I'm overweight and I feel like fucking shit.
Yeah.
That's the reality. And even though people want to coddle you in that and sort of let you settle for that, you have to sometimes be the one to go, enough is enough. And this actually isn't good enough. This actually isn't my best version. This actually isn't who I am at my core. And the only person who's going to save me right now is me. Like, participate in your own rescue, Riley. And that's the conversation I had with myself. And the same goes for this perfectionist. Like, this has been my story for a very, very long time. And my problem is, and I will be the first to say this, I am very articulate. I can tell you my trauma. I can tell you my stuff. I can give you the whole story. I can articulate it really well. I can tell you why. I can tell you how. I can tell you where. But where my work lies is okay, shift. Yeah. Okay, change. okay, do something different. Stop talking about it. How do you feel? And that's where I come up against a lot of resistance. So my work is in feeling the discomfort or where that arises in my body when I do the thing that I resist doing. So being imperfect, sharing my truth, being more opinionated. You know, there was a situation recently that I shared with you where I shared my truth and there was backlash in that from particular people that, you know, I should have expected it. Something my mentor said to me is, you know, if you're going to challenge, expect to be challenged.
Yeah. Love.
True.
So
true. And that's my work. Can I create safety in being challenged when I challenge? And that's what I'm currently sort of strengthening capacity in. So really for me, it's identifying the thing that you're avoiding, understanding the fear that is beneath the lack of inaction or the inaction, and then doing the next possible small step to create safety in that.
Yeah.
And that's how you slowly shift capacity.
Yeah, I think that is so important, that conversation around that small step. It's like, yes, understanding the next. It's like understanding, yes, the subconscious belief that's there, but one small shift to make that next step. I think lots of people think like, I just need to go from here to there. But even in health, even in, you know, subconscious reprogramming and those type of things, doing that trauma work, it's never like these huge giant leaps to get you through that. It's like micro action at a time. What is, I call it like, it's like a ladder on the rung. You're not going to be like, if you, for example, when you're in Bali, you're like, I hate what I look like. You're not going to be like, I am the best person, like I am so beautiful, I am so authentic, etc. It's like, what is the one rung up? And I think that it's so beautiful how you've kind of transition from that, and it is a process. It is like an ongoing process this whole time.
And I don't think you ever actually want to be done.
Oh yeah.
And that's another thing that a lot of high achieving people, women, fail to think about is if you're someone who is always in pursuit of more, which typically speaking we are, that goalpost will move and it will move again and it will move again and it will move again. So knowing that to be true, it's never about attaining the thing. It's about getting really good at tolerating the resistance that exists along the pursuit of what it is that you want to achieve. And that's a really hard thing to do. I think in entrepreneurship especially, you're always waiting for it to be easy. When I launch this thing, it will be easy. When I record X amount of podcasts, I won't be nervous anymore. When I do this, when I do that.
When I make X amount of money, then I'll be happier.
It's untrue. And of course, things can become easier. But if you're expanding as you continue to achieve certain things, capacity is challenged in that.
Yeah.
And we've had that conversation before. It's like the resistance that might come up for you when you achieve a 10K month will very likely be the same resistance that comes up when you achieve a 50K month and a 100K month, a 200K month, because it's sort of like same devil, new level.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
You have to acknowledge it at that level to, again, create safety and then go again.
Yeah, I love that. When you talk about capacity, like from a health perspective, capacity for me is quite obvious. It's like I'm ceilinged. You can't execute. You can't do as much. You can't be that person you want to be because your health is capping your capacity to be. When you refer to capacity, what elements of capacity are you seeing blocked for women to get to that success that they want?
I am always of the belief it starts with health. And there is one thing that I am so grateful to have, and that is my health. I really believe, when you have your health, you have 1,000 problems. When you don't have your health, you have one.
Absolutely.
It is the only thing that matters. And it is the first thing I believe you have to achieve somewhat mastery in before you can look at anything external of yourself, at a business, at supporting other people, at creating wealth, achieving a different goal, like whatever it may be, start with you. And I feel like for a lot of women, they're at capacity with their health because they're not meeting, truth be told, the fucking bare minimums when it comes to their health.
Yeah.
They're operating in very masculine cycles. They are not hydrated. They're not sleeping. Like, are you getting REM sleep? Or are you not getting REM sleep? You're not training. You're not eating properly. Your hormones are all out of balance. You're, on birth control for 10, 15 years. Like, whatever the thing may be, start there because it is challenging enough, I would say, to be a woman in business who is not aware of her body's natural cycle, let alone having all different things going on in terms of health. And the reason also I would say that health really, really matters is because, again, if I think back to the contrast I experienced in that point, you know, in my life, personally speaking, carrying extra weight, and mind you, it was probably 5 kilos, give or take, but being inflamed, being so inflamed. I remember I would do my makeup and I'm like, where is my face? I just did not feel like myself. Did I want to create content? No. Did I want to be on camera? No. Did I show up less? Absolutely. So it impacts more than just how you feel. It impacts how you be. And if we think about the requirement in business, you know, visibility is such a huge thing. It's like, I doubt you have a visibility block. You just don't like how you look and feel. So it's easy to project that, you know, I'm not good in front of the camera, or I just don't like to record content, or I don't want to be on TikTok, or I don't want to do the reel. No, you just don't like the reflection when you put up your camera. And that's a hard thing to admit, but it's true for a lot of women. So start there.
Yeah, I love that. And obviously preaching to the choir, because that is my whole work, is obviously optimizing your health so that you can increase your capacity to be that best version of yourself, to have the life, the success, the wealth that you want, because without it, really, you're kind of capped. And I do think, and I think you've spoken about it before as well, it's also, there's capacity in, I guess, your ability to hold money, receive as well. Like you're also capped in certain areas of there as well. Would you be able to speak into that?
It's so interesting. I literally just recorded a podcast on, I mean, not a podcast, a TikTok on this right before I came in here.
We're connected.
You're like, you've been talking about this. And just an experience that I had when, you know, I was 21 to 22, my company generated around 740,000 in revenue in a 12-month period. And that was around a 500K increase from the previous financial year. So a huge jump in just income and revenue. And reflecting on that period now, I could not hold that. I didn't know how to handle that. I didn't know what to do with that. And there was somewhat of a hidden cost to success that I think a lot of people don't speak about. And that cost of success, whether it's true or not, can be, you know, with more money comes more responsibility, more pressure, obligation. You are going to be perceived, and maybe in a way that you feel you can't control anymore. And it's a very weird experience. And when you don't, like we've been speaking to, increase capacity to hold more, some things can happen too hard, too quick, too fast, and it somewhat creates a trauma for you. So for me, it somewhat felt traumatic. Success didn't feel safe. I felt isolated. I felt alone. I felt really misunderstood. And it actually created this situation where I just wanted to retreat and I wanted to hide. I stopped posting so much. I stopped posting on YouTube all of a sudden, and the podcast, I've just been so busy lately.
Yes.
And all of these things started to happen around me where, I just got busy, or I don't know, I just moved house and I couldn't possibly. But really, I'm just attempting to preserve the part of me that felt so unsafe in the success that I just experienced. So there's definitely a lot of work to do around that. And, you know, the thing with money is, you're going to somewhat hold the same mindset the entire way through, despite what you're earning or what income is, if you don't consciously look at your behavior, your dialogue, the responsibility or just resistance you have around money in terms of stories or just perception of money, I think is huge as well. I know for a lot of, say, you know, women or people, we experience money growing up in whatever capacity based on what we've seen from parents or people around us and even just like societal norms. And if I think about what my parents earned income-wise collectively and the life we lived, I never went without. I always got what I wanted. We holidayed every year, not overseas, but we went away in the caravan and, you know, I went to a good school and lived in a beautiful location, and I thought, life's good. And I know that my parents only earned, say, 150,000 collectively. So that's all I need. And you create these income blocks and this threshold where for me it felt safe to earn 150 but not more. And when I started to earn more, and then so much more, right? 150 compared to 740. Again, that's not money in my pocket, but to see that amount of money in your company, it's a very jarring experience. And for me, I won't say for everyone, I felt isolated in that.
Yeah.
So for me now, there's a lot of unlearning and unbecoming around money based on an experience that I haven't projected would feel that way. It was actually how I felt.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of people fear success for different reasons, but it's different when you've lived it and you have evidence that it was that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I created many stories around, well, I'm alone and I'm disconnected and I've lost people and this is sort of the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
And now I have to rewrite that. Even though I still earn great money and nothing's wrong in that sense, it's a fear that exists very unconsciously and it requires attention and work.
Yeah. Isn't it funny that it's, even as a successful woman as you are, that you still have money stories that come from like past trauma of being successful. Mm-hmm. Whereas I think a lot of women, when they're building success, they're building their wealth, they're trying to earn more money in their business. There's money stories that come up about, the worthiness to be able to bring in money or hold more money or they're not deserving of money. There's so many different stories, and it's amazing that to just see that at every single level there is always issues that we kind of always have to like subconsciously reprogram. And I think that is why for you as a reflection, like as a business coach, it's never just been about strategy. It's never just been about like this many posts or show up like this way or offer suites, etc. It is also about your mindset, because at the end of the day, even when I have been unpacking stuff, poor Riley has been listening to so many of my voice messages, it's that personal development on crack. Like it will bring out the best of you, but also like those trauma sides. Mm-hmm. But you know that going through that is allowing space for that next level version of yourself.
It will expose every hidden part that you want to run from, but you can't.
Yeah.
And, choosing, we've had this conversation recently, but you have to acknowledge what you're choosing in that and have gratitude for the fact that it is a choice. You're choosing something that, yes, is difficult, but then what's the option?
Yeah.
Go and settle for mediocrity, go and do something normal, go and settle for a life that was never really yours anyway. There is beauty in the struggle, and this is where I feel it's, a lot of what I've kind of come to know throughout the last sort of 6.5 years is it's not about reaching any set goal. It's not about reaching a certain outcome. You can absolutely be working towards achieving certain levels of, success or wealth or accomplishments in whatever capacity, but you have to fall in love with the journey because it actually never ends. You will never wake up one day and think, I'm done.
I've made it. Because once upon a time, what you had now felt like the be all and end all, but you're in it and you don't feel that way. Why? Because the goalpost has moved. Yep.
And that's okay, but I don't think there needs to be a big song and dance and celebration around you doing the bare minimum of what you expect for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, can that just be the expectation? Can that just be the standard and it not require you to even need the validation external of yourself, because this is what you've chosen. And in what you choose, there's going to be highs and lows and good and bad and positive and negative and moments where you want to give up and moments where you're flying. But that is the journey. That is a part of it. And you have to be willing and committed to all of that existing, not just here for the parts that feel good.
Yeah.
Because it won't always feel good. And you might go a whole year of it feeling quite off.
Yeah.
That's what I've also learned. There have been seasons where I can wake up and go, I don't even like this, but I choose to do it anyway. And it's not to glamorize or normalize, hustle culture or doing things that you don't love doing and that type of thing, or just being in complete misalignment. But some seasons are struggle. Some seasons are so uncomfortable. Some seasons feel like you are sitting in so much resistance with whatever you're moving through, but it's knowing what lies on the other side of that and being committed to doing what's required.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the time people, we see it, it's like glamorized success. You see all those Stripe payments, or I made X amount high cash months, and it's like the behind the scenes, and it's that we chose our hard. It is hard. Like it's non-negotiable. Being in business, being an entrepreneur, life is hard, things come up, but we chose that. And I say it to my family, and I think it's quite funny. They're like, oh, you just take your foot off the pedal. No, like I chose this. I actually like what I do, despite it being so uncomfortable sometimes, so difficult with what you work through and roadblock after roadblock, but you just keep going because it just feels like in you that is just what you're meant to do. You chose it. This is my hard.
You fail when you quit.
Literally.
And, if you think about failure, like apply it to the gym for an example, you fail when you physically cannot do another rep, right? Like you're just at capacity. You're like, I could not for the life of me lift this weight. It's going to fall on my face. Can you not record another podcast episode? Can you not physically answer another sales call? Can you not physically create something else in your business? Can you not physically post more?
Yeah.
You can. Keep going.
Yeah. There's a little, a psychologist or a neuroscience scientist did this. It's like just that little bit more. When you do that, just that little bit more, it triggers all these like neurochemicals in your brain, like dopamine, and it motivates you to keep going that little bit further. So I think like even in saying that, it's like you're not at capacity. You physically can't. Just do that little bit more, and it will momentum you to that next phase. Yeah.
I love where have I heard this? Someone said once, entrepreneurship, owning a business is the hardest way to make easy money. And I don't think anything is truer than that. It is. It's the hardest way to make easy money. And it's such a cool journey though. I think it's such a cool journey, and you're never set in any position you are in. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. You're actually never stuck. You're stuck because of reactivity you are in, but not because you're literally stuck. There is just a fear beneath that that's stopping you from taking action, and that's going to present in the form of, overwhelm or procrastination or confusion. And I feel it in myself. Last night I was really overwhelmed. It was all, we have these moments where it all just starts to pile up and it's all internal. And you're just sitting there and this dialogue is like moving and moving. And I said to T, I'm like, I'm so overwhelmed right now. And he's like, what do you need? And I'm like, I need to post a piece of content. Because the overwhelm was just coming from inaction. I'm getting in my head because I haven't moved the needle in that way. I haven't done the thing that generates a result. And until that thing's done, I'm stuck. And I'm stuck in this sort of free state is what it can kind of feel like. And as a result, I'm going to be really reactive. I'm snappy at him. I'm snappy in general. I can't think properly. I'm distracted. Do the thing you say you're going to do. That is 9 times out of 10 the cure to whatever you're experiencing, somatically or more internal.
Absolutely. And it's also building that trust in yourself to do that thing that you said you were going to do.
Follow through.
I love. Feminine sales, the queen of feminine sales. I would love you to define what that even means, because I think we are surrounded by, and I know from my experience, all I have seen online, all I have been taught is that masculine bro approach. It's like you must get on a sales call. You must follow up. You must take payment on the phone. It is very like pushy. I literally feel like you are a car salesman, and it gives me the ick. Like I hate it. So feminine sales, tell me.
I think the first thing to dissolve in, feminine sales, because it's the language that I use, is feminine is an energy, not a gender. So a lot of the time we kind of feel like it's mutually exclusive to women, and it feels fluffy. It feels intuitive, and then it lacks structure, and that there's no real strategy behind it. You just get to sit back and receive, and you're going to make all this money. It's really got nothing to do with that, and everything to do with leveraging who women innately are. And if you are a woman selling a service to women, selling an offer, a product, or whatever to women, we actually need to understand the biopsychology behind that and leverage it in our favor to create conversion and real connection. Women by nature, we're innately intuitive. We instinctually we can see bullshit from a mile away. We can feel it. And we all know that. You think to a relationship you had with like maybe an ex-partner or a situation with friends or family where you just knew something was true before you actually had confirmation it was.
Oh my God, don't even tell me about my ex-partner when you just know that it is so wrong.
You're like, I feel this in my soul. You can't lie to women.
Literally.
Core belief. You cannot lie to women. Women are so intuitive. We feel energy. we are very receptive to energy. And when it comes to sales, we have to understand how women buy, what and who we innately are, and how to actually lead a sales process start to finish, from your content and your messaging, right? Your front face marketing and knowing that does 90% of the heavy lifting, right through to the sales conversation, and then of course delivery of a program service. And when women come into business and we're taught this very masculine approach, competition, fake urgency, exaggerated authority, get on sales calls, push, close over the phone, all these different things we're told, it goes against who we innately are in terms of delivery, but it equally goes against who we are to receive. Yeah. And that's the conversation that exists around feminine sales. You can close in your DMs. You can close high ticket in your DMs. You can close without having a conversation with someone. But you have to know how to do that. And when you're pushing and you're, hyper fixated on the bro way of doing things, it is going to be so repelling for you, so exhausting for you as well.
Yeah.
Yep, it's a turn off. It's not attractive and I'm gone. Think about the amount of messages you get in your DMs from bros, whether it's, they're promoting their email marketing or they're trying to get you in on something, whatever it may be. You can actually see their strategy and you can feel how repelling that is because, one, you want to be the one to approach them before they approach you. Mm-hmm. There is so much in this. So, yeah, from a strategic lens, I could go into it, but that essentially is, what feminine sales is and why it matters for women.
I love that. And for me, it has completely changed my view of how I show up in business and how, it's permission. It's like allowing to be me, the most natural feminine version of me, instead of feeling like I have to fit into a box that as everyone has told me that I have to be. And it's all the same. You can feel it. You can exactly when those men pop into your DMs, it's literally like this structure. Like, I really love your content. Like, how long have you been coaching for? I was like, I don't fucking need a coach. Like,
Monique, just bumping this up in case you haven't seen it. Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
Yeah. I cannot. Okay. Yes, you've got so much in terms of strategy, but if you could tell someone who's never heard of this, what would be one thing that they could do or implement today straight away?
Start voice noting instead of messaging.
Oh my God, game changer.
It is the simplest shift ever, but you will be so surprised with how many people you lose through sending a very cookie cutter message of, hey, thanks for inquiring. What service are you looking for? Or, hey, thanks for inquiring. Here's the link to fill out the form, by not actually leveraging that initial point of connection. I have closed 20K sales in one day of someone finding me purely because I voice noted.
I love.
And that's the truth. And that's not to kind of flex on the amount of money, but my point being is you taking the time to care, to connect before you convert, to serve before you sell, will be the difference between someone potentially looking at, a coach over here and then coming over to you as the coach over there, because that is what matters. Women want to feel safe. They want to feel supported. They want to feel cared for, and they want to feel understood. Everyone has that innate desire. Do you understand me? Do you understand my problem? And can you ensure that your offer, service, or program can help me? If you don't take the time to understand that, inquire about that, and actually get to know this person and build rapport, not only have you lost a sale, but you've actually lost a relationship.
Yep.
So for me, at a minimum, I don't care about conversion. I've either built a relationship or I've signed a client. It's a win either way.
Yeah.
But start with a voice note and get used to that. Bring people with you. There's so much resistance for women in doing that, but it will completely change the game for you in business, as simple and basic as that is.
And I think at the end of the day, we're there to connect. We're here in business to connect with other women, not just make a sale. And I'm very big on building relationships, not just transactions. And I know that you are too.
How much time have you got?
Yeah, literally.
How much time have you got? It's very true. And I think a big thing in that as well is, I've said this forever, but if you're in business to make a difference and not money, you'll do both. Mm-hmm. And it's as simple as that. Your prospect, your audience, the person that you're having a conversation with who's inquiring about anything that you do, she will feel if she's a number for you. She will feel if you just want her money. She will feel if you're desperate to just close so you can take a screenshot, put it on your stories. Business move today. Yeah. Welcome to this.
Absolutely.
Do you care? It's felt. Women are intuitive.
I love that, Riley. We could talk about this forever, but I know that people will come and find you. I want to close out the segment with her file. This is...
I'm terrified.
You were the very first person to do it. It is basically something that goes, again, I'm very big on not the surface level. And all we see online is the very highlight reel, just like we talked about the Stripe payments, the Instagram feed. And I love getting deeper about how you became her, that person you are. So in this file we've got sitting here are 3 questions. You pick one question that feels good for you and read it aloud and answer it. Just raw, reflective, whatever firstly comes to your mind.
I'm scared. I am scared. Oh, okay. Okay. Who were you pretending to be before you became her, the woman you are today?
You know, I was like, I reckon Riley will answer that
Yeah,
question.
you knew. You knew. Here we are. Okay. We spoke about it earlier, but I would say the good girl and the perfectionist and the one that had to have the answer. Something that I wish I leveraged sooner, and I'm proud that I did at the time that I did, but I really felt like I needed to have all of the answers on my own, and I was really married to doing it on my own and somewhat the lone wolf mentality in business where I'm like, I don't need anyone. I've got this. I'd hire support and not utilize it. I'd hire, team and not fully leverage that because I needed to have that story of I don't need anyone and I can do it on my own. And quite quickly, I would say I learned that I don't have to do it on my own. And I get to leverage clients and I get to leverage team and I get to leverage people and I get to connect and actually ask for help, ask for support. And I think it'll always be my work in some capacity, but just letting go of the version who had to have all of the answers and had to do it on her own.
Yeah.
Because it really happens with people.
Yeah, for sure. And I definitely resonate as someone who is very... always that A+ student, never ask for help. I'm very independent, always do it. And it's that if I had to delegate, I was like, no, I'll just do it faster myself. I can just do it myself because that's just what I've always had. So I get it. And I love that.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I love it.
Riley, thank you so much. I am so honored that you came onto the podcast as my very first guest. And I know that everyone will want to hear more from you, connect after all of that. So where is the best place they can find you?
I would say Instagram, so either at the Riley May or at Women That Sell. Those are 2 Instagrams I tend to be on. Or you can head across and listen to the podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and that is just Women That Sell by Riley May. So they are my main 2. I'm on TikTok as well. Post to YouTube sometimes. So you'll find me.
All over the place.
I'm around.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.